Quiet wealth, fake poverty, slow burn humiliation, and an ice-cold, devastating reveal that leaves everyone speechless. The silent billionaire at the family table, approximately the same length and depth as the original. Everyone in the family thought I was the poor aunt who barely scraped by on a teacher's pension. For 30 years, I let them believe it. I still lived in the same modest two-bedroom house my late husband and I bought in 1982. Same faded curtains, same 1998 Toyota in the driveway, same grocery store clothes. I brought homemade casseroles to every gathering, while my siblings and their spouses flashed new Audis, second homes in Spain, and Rolexes the size of coasters. My younger brother Richard and his wife Claudia were the worst. At every Christmas, they'd sigh dramatically. Eleanor, you should have let us help you years ago. It's not too late to move into a decent assisted living facility. We'll cover it. Translation: we'll pay just enough to keep you out of sight so you don't embarrass us in front of our friends. Last Thanksgiving, they went too far. They decided to host at their new $11 million mansion on the lake. Gold-plated invitations arrived, actual gold foil. The dress code was black tie optional, but please look the part. I arrived in a 10-year-old navy dress from Macy's, orthopedic shoes, and a cardigan with a hole at the elbow. Claudia actually flinched when she opened the door. Throughout dinner, the digs never stopped. Richard pouring $800 wine. Careful, Eleanor, that's a '96 Chateau Margaux, probably more than your monthly pension. Claudia laughing. Leave her alone, darling. Not everyone can tell the difference between this and a $9 bottle. Their daughter Sophie, my niece, rolled her eyes every time I used the wrong fork. Their son Brandon filmed me on his phone for the memories. Then came the toast. Richard stood, glass raised. To family. Some of us were lucky enough to build something extraordinary. Others, well, they did their best with what little they had. Either way, blood is blood. He looked straight at me when he said little. Something inside me snapped, but quietly, the way a glacier cracks, no sound until the whole shelf collapses. I placed my napkin on the table and stood and spoke for the first time that evening. Actually, Richard, I have a toast of my own. Every head turned. I reached into my worn handbag and pulled out a plain manila envelope. I slid it across the mahogany table until it stopped in front of my brother. He frowned. What's this? Open it. Inside were three things. A single photograph of the lake mansion, taken from a drone, stamped sold in red. A deed of trust, and a key fob with the Bentley emblem. Richard laughed nervously. Some kind of joke? No joke, I said calmly. That photograph is dated 3 weeks ago. The house was purchased through a blind trust. The trust is administered by my holding company, which means, technically, I own this house. You've been living in my property since you moved in. Claudia went pale. That's impossible. I continued, voice still soft. The wine you're drinking? I bought the vineyard in 2009. The company that employs both of you? Yes, the one that pays your 7-figure salaries, is 63% owned by me. I've been the silent majority shareholder for 12 years. Every bonus, every stock option, every private jet mile you've enjoyed came from my dividends. I turned to Sophie and Brandon. The college funds you brag about? I seeded them the day you were born. The family foundation that paid for your gap years in Europe? My money, my lawyers, my name on every wire transfer, just never on the letterhead. Silence. Absolute, choking silence. Richard finally found his voice. Why the hell would you hide this? Because I wanted to know who would still love me if I had nothing. I wanted to see who would offer help without expecting a return. Who would invite me to Thanksgiving because I'm family, not because I could pay for the turkey. I looked around the table. 30 years of casseroles and second-hand clothes. 30 years of, we'll cover her, the poor thing. Not one of you, not once, asked how I was doing without waiting for me to ask for money first. You assumed I had none, and that made me invisible. Claudia's lips trembled. Eleanor, we didn't mean... I cut in gently. You did. You meant every word. And tonight, I heard them all. I picked up the Bentley key fob and pressed the button. Outside, headlights flashed twice. A matte black Bentayga I'd parked 3 houses down so no one would notice. I'll be keeping the cars in the garage, by the way. They're registered to the trust. Same with the boat, the wine cellar, and the guest house you turned into a home gym. Richard stood so fast his chair fell backward. You can't just... I can, and I will. You have 30 days to vacate the premises. After that, the locks change. Sophie started crying. Brandon looked like he might throw up. I walked to the front door, then paused. One more thing. The assisted living facility you keep recommending? Top rated, 5 minutes from here, $18,000 a month. I bought the entire building last year. Renovated the memory care wing in memory of Mom. If any of you ever truly need it, the rooms are free for blood family. No means testing, no judgment. I would have given you the world if you'd treated me like a sister instead of a charity case. Turns out, all you ever needed was the truth. I stepped into the November air. My driver, who they'd always assumed was an Uber, held the door of the Bentayga. As we pulled away, I watched them in the rearview mirror, standing in the doorway of a house that was never really theirs, clutching each other, finally understanding what poor actually feels like. I never went back for Christmas, but every year on Thanksgiving morning, a delivery van drops off 1 homemade casserole at whatever address they're renting now. No note, just the dish I always used to bring. Some lessons are best served cold. The end. Did this one hit the same spot as the original? Want another long one, or shall we switch flavors?